Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Swing Wing Sing here, and today I am coming to you with part number 3 of the 1/32 scale special hobby Hawker Tempest Mark II build. So as you can see, the model is there right in front of you. I have completed most of the assembly of the fuselage and the wings. The underside has been painted silver already. And I'm just getting ready to paint the top surfaces of the model. So this is going to be the stepwise build on how I arrived till this point in this video. So just sit back and enjoy the rest of the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for getting all future updates. So here we go. So as you can see right now, I'm at step number 21, where it shows parts J2, J7 and J19 to be assembled, and this is basically the housing for the tail wheel of the Tempest, and it kind of assembles in here in the inverted shape. So I pulled out the sprue J, which I have already marked here, and I found J2, I found J7. Where's J7? Yeah, here it is. And there is no J19 anywhere in this sprue. And so I had to look a little bit harder to figure out that this part might be J19. As you can see, it's not mentioned. We've got 20 here, 21 here underneath. There's no marking here, so I don't know what these parts are. But, you know, just looking at the parts, I realized this might have been the one. So, yeah. Right, so right now I have already fixed the cockpit inside the fuselage. And here's the assembly of the tail wheel section. So that is done, and I am now going to close the other half of the fuselage, which I had already done earlier. All right, and seems like the alignment is pretty good. Right, so currently I'm at step number 23, and as you can see, this is the assembly of the propeller. It shows you parts F14, F2, F10, F8, the fans, which are F2s again. There seems to be some kind of a conflict here, and then F7. So if I take sprue number F, so here you can see I've got F14, then it says F2 as this small circle out here, but F2 on the sprues are the propeller fan blades. Now you notice this is actually F1, so there's an error with the print on the instructions. Moving on, I found F10, I found F8. F2s are of course the fan blades, so they're there. And then I've got F7, which is the spinner. So an error with part number F1. So instead of F2, this should be F1. All right, so at this moment I am at step number 24, wherein I am assembling the engine cowling. And you can see this, it shows the bottom panel of the cowling, and it shows these two resin parts PUR30 to be assembled inside the walls of the cowling here. So I took out the resin part number 30, and you can see it's in this kind of shape here, and I was trying to cut it out with my snippers, and this is the error that I made. So it's kind of broken out from here and it's caused a problem now. So now I do have a hobby saw, but there isn't enough space for the hobby saw to get in here so that it can give a clean cut. So the only other option I'm left with is my rotary tool or Dremel, and I'm going to use this to carefully cut it out. So I'll come back once I do that. So there we are. This one cut out pretty smooth. So basically these parts of the propeller are supposed to go in like so. So this part connects here. This little ring is kind of a locking ring which sits right behind it like so, has to be pushed in. And once it goes in, it's supposed to kind of be a sort of a locking arrangement for this. And at the back, then you fit this particular portion. This part is supposed to be glued on here. And once it is glued on, it should attach easily out here. And on these parts on the front of this section is where each propeller fan blade kind of aligns like so at this angle. So let me quickly glue these parts together and show you the finished result. This whole assembly, it fixes on here. However, this engine motor needs to go into the engine cowling. So I'll quickly assemble the engine cowling and you can see how it assembles. So technically there's a little notch in here, if you can see right here, there's a notch and there's a divot in here, and basically it simply aligns like this on the divot. Right, then just assemble this part out here together like this, and then you have the upper panel which closes up. It closes up only in one direction like this, and you can see that the fit is quite snug here. And similarly there's a lower panel which again fits like so. Again, nice fit here. And once you've done that, you can simply attach the prop out here like so. Okay, I'm at step number 26 now, and this shows that you need to cut out this portion from the left wing. And as you can see here, this is the portion that you need to cut out. And I've already scored it with my surgical knife. I've already scored the region that you need to cut out. You can choose to go ahead with the build as is and keep everything hidden. I am going to open up this section and show the gun open. So step number 26. Now it also gives you another instruction to cut out this portion, and it says for step 31, but there is a little paper also included with the instructions, and this is something important, and this says erratum. I think it means that what they've shown in the instruction here is an error. So which means that step number 31, they are telling you to cut out this portion. However, here they're saying do not cut off. So it's probably an error in the print here. And in fact, there were a lot of errors earlier as well. but for this particular section they have included this little leaflet that basically shows you that step number 26, you're not supposed to cut off this little looks like a trim tab on the aileron, inboard side of the aileron, on the lower side of the wing. So that trim tab needs to be left intact. All right, so right now I'm at the stage where I need to drill these 4 holes into the port and the starboard wings. Basically, they're going to mount the drop tanks. So I'm going to use my pin vise and I'm going to start drilling those holes as per the instructions. All right, so I finally took the plunge and decided to build the ammunition housing. And as you can see, I've already taken the resin parts out from the block of resin that holds these parts. And here you can see this is the ammunition holder. This is the Hispano ammunition, the .404, and there are 2 of these, followed by the guns that will fire those .404 rounds. So all of this has been cleaned up and is ready to go in. And as you can see, I've also cut out the wing portion to show the gun in the open position. Also, I have constructed the wheel wells, and as you can see, they've come out okay, but I made a big mistake, which was this single straight brace. And this is a mistake that I made because I followed it as per the instructions, but I felt that, you know, this is something that should have been added as the very first part. So this is a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts in total, and 6 parts out here, so 12 parts. Now I felt that this should have been the first section to attach. What happened was that by mistake I put the left front brace on the right side and the right front brace on the left side. Due to that, the left one did not fit properly. Everything else fit absolutely fine, but it did fit, but it was causing a little bit of problems. And what I did was I did not realize that I had done it in the reverse order, and so, you know, I ended up cutting this a little bit, and that's why you see a slight gap here. Now it asks you to install the, I think these are the landing lights here, and the instructions kind of show you that one of them is green and one of them is red. So it's got the pre-built masks, and so, you know, this step is yet to be done in the wings, but I'll be working on the gun emplacements first, and once I'm done with that, you know, it'll actually construct this as a separate as a whole separate model in itself. So I will construct it, paint it separately, and then install it in the end. So after all that effort, this is where I am currently at. You can see I've painted the yellow or the zinc chromate primer. So zinc chromate primer here. This is the lower part of the wing. This is what you just saw. The left wing has been assembled with the Hispano cannon. Here's the engine cowling. Here's the cockpit with the fuselage assembled. The rudder still needs to be assembled. And here's the propeller. So thankfully I was able to find this part number PE15 or PUR11. If you would remember that in part 1 of this construction build, PUR11 was missing from the resin parts, but I was able to find it now, and it is actually PUR29. So what I've done is I painted it black as per the instructions, and I also took out part number J21 where this part is going to mount. So you can see that J21 is also painted black. The other things that need to be assembled on this are the film A and B, and it also has part PE15, which I've already taken out from the photo etch fret. Not sure if you can see it clearly. So that's the photo etch part. Now basically this is just a straight part. These side triangular portions on the side, they need to be bent 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use my steel ruler. Here's my steel ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the photo etch, place this part right here on the edge, and with the sharp end of the tweezers, I'm just going to gently bend it like so, 90 degrees. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So this time I'm going to hold it like this because the other side is already bent 90 degrees, and holding it right here, just going to gently bend it upwards, and there you go. That's how the part is going to fit on the gyro gun sight assembly. Alright, so right now I'm at a stage where I kind of feel like banging my head against the wall. So I made a huge mistake, and that was in the hurry. I had actually glued the upper parts of the wings together, and also put in the cannon assembly inside like so. And that's because the instructions tell you to do so. And this is a very, very bad way of building this kit. And in fact, it was left for me to figure out later on, because what happened was, as the wings were glued on like so, I tried to slide the fuselage in, because the instructions show that it will slide in from the back. Now I pushed it in, and it did come up right in front, but what happened was it opened up all the joints from this portion right up to the cannon here, and from this portion also right up to the cannon on the left and right wings. And what happened was the wings kind of, instead of being aligned like so, they kind of moved up like so. And what I realized after that was that once the fuselage was in, these notches, they wouldn't fit properly, and there was it was creating a huge gap here in the wing like so on both sides. And then I realized that there's something wrong with the assembly. And what happened was, then while I really had to struggle to pull out the fuselage. And what happened in the event was that all of these joints in the cockpit, they opened up. Thankfully, the cockpit didn't come loose, so it's fixed tightly with the upper portion here. But the lower joints, they did come off, and then I had to re-glue them. But thankfully, there wasn't much damage. And then I realized that there would be a lot of dry fitting that I would have to do. So once I started off with the dry test fitting, I found that the fuselage would really not slide in. And so the first thing I had to do was literally sand off this entire bulkhead. This was really, really thick. I have sanded off almost 0.5 millimeter of this bulkhead out here and on the other side as well. You can see this part was really thick, and I've been at it since morning. Now, when I did that, of course, the fuselage slid in, as you can see right now. The fuselage goes in like so, fixes in and aligns here. So that part was sorted. But what happened was that the wings now wouldn't go in here. And this became a real problematic issue. So I started sanding off this portion so that they would fit. And took me quite a while to sand off, because this was also a very, very thick notch here. Once that was sanded, it could go in. But what happened was the wing was kind of aligning like so, which meant that all the bulkheads that were constructed inside, they were like, literally protruding out. So then I had to remove everything, and since morning I've been at it. The only thing I've done since morning for the last 3 hours is, sand off the bulkheads of the undercarriage landing gear assembly. And you can see I've sanded off a fair amount from all of these bulkheads. And it is only now that the wings kind of fit. And this wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for this handy dandy tool that I have, because it's just impossible to sand it with sanding sticks. You would have taken days to do that with a sanding stick. So this kind of helped me, and even though I was using this specialist tool to do all the sanding, it took me almost 3 hours to get it to a point where it kind of fits. And now you can see that I can simply slide it in here. Technically, if you see the left wing, it aligns like so, and now the alignment is much better. There'll be just a little bit of filler that is required here. This part was also not aligning, so finally now it aligns. Same way with the other wing. Again, it was the same issue. As you can still see, there is a slight issue, but if I press it and glue it, I think that should fix it. So now that all that effort has been put in, I think it is at a stage where I can begin to glue it. All right, so right now I'm at this the assembly of the horizontal stabilizer, and it's basically constructed in 4 parts. So there are the top and the lower part of the front empennage and the top and lower part of the rear empennage, or I would say the actual moving part. Now, a very nice thing that I noticed here. Now, I'm not sure, this could be commonplace in a 1/32 scale model, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. So, you know, there's a slight notch in here, and you know, it kind of fits inside this divot and very nicely aligns so that the aerofoil section, as you can see there, is very nicely maintained, and you can actually, you know, position the horizontal stabilizer in a downward or an upward position, as the case may be. Of course, you would not position it upwards. You can position it downwards, you know, to show it while it is parked on the ground. But while that's a good thing, but if you try to move it, you know, it very simply slides off. So from a display purpose, it's a great thing to have. So you can actually choose to glue it in this position, or just bend it down like this and glue it in this position. But nice touch here. I really liked this part of the horizontal stabilizer. All right, so I think this is the last step of the part 2 video, and I will close up after I complete this step. So basically, this is about the assembly of the weapons. So I have decided to go with the drop tanks and rocket configuration, so I will not be using the bombs. So step number 46, 47, but 46 and 47 is what I'm going to omit, and I am basically looking at steps 44, 45, which is the assembly of the drop tanks, and then moving on to the assembly of the rockets and the rocket hardpoints, of course. Following this up will be the final closure of everything else, and then we'll move on to the painting phase. But here's something that I wanted to show you before we go there. So I assembled the drop tanks. They basically look like miniature 72nd scale submarines of some sort, but huge drop tanks of this Tempest. The fit was nice, so no complaints there. So you see, this is basically the hard point of the drop tank that will connect with the aircraft. So it basically, this is two pieces which are connected together. So I've glued them up here and here, and this will basically fit on this similar shaped section out here, like so. So this is how this is going to fit, and then this is going to connect up to the body of the aircraft or the wing. So that is the assembly of the drop tank there. I'm not sure why they made this in this glass format. Maybe it was easier to mold it in this way. I'm not sure. But in any case, this is going to get painted in the body color itself, so that glass part is not really going to be visible. But if there's any other reason that you guys can think about why they did that, please do let me know in the comments. So that completes the drop tank and its assembly, and then I moved on to the assembly of the rockets. Now basically, there are 8 of these rockets. The warheads are constructed separately, so there were 8 pieces of warheads, and then with each rocket assembly there were 4 fins that were to be assembled. Now the fins were on this sprue here, which is sprue sprue L, and I've used them all up, but here you see. So I've still got about 26 of these fins, and these are all spares. Now I'm not sure why Special Hobby would do that. Were they expecting that we would lose so many that they gave us 26 more spares? Not really sure, because all my rockets, 8 of them, they've all been assembled fully. I've used up all the fins that were there on this side of the sprue. So all of those 26 plus there were a few here, which makes it 32. So on 8 rockets, 4 fins on each rocket, that makes 32. So I've used up all those 32, but I'm still left with another spare 26 of these fins. So that completes the weapons assembly. I am now going to assemble the final bits and bobs together before I move on to the painting stage, which will of course be the next video.